The desert was unnaturally quiet after the chaos of the last experiment. The wind that usually sang across the mesas seemed to pause as if the land itself was listening. Travis Taylor stood before the array of antennas, staring at the faint glow of equipment screens still alive with residual data. The line graphs pulsed with the ghost of a frequency 1.6 gigahertz steady repeating, and yet, when he zoomed in, the pulse pattern changed. It wasn't random. It was rhythmic, mathematical, almost linguistic. Inside the command trailer, Eric Bard adjusted his glasses, replaying the waveform again and again. It's like something modulated our own signal, he said. It's mirroring us, but with intent. Brandon Fugel leaned in, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. Are you saying it's intelligent? Eric hesitated before answering. I'm saying it's aware. For years, the team had treated the ranch as an external mystery, a set of physical puzzles to be solved with technology. But the new data forced a subtle, terrifying shift in perspective. What if the phenomena weren't objects but responses? What if they were interacting, not appearing? Travis turned toward the mesa, its layered rock catching the last orange of sunset. Every time we probe, he whispered, it probes back. They decided to run one more controlled test, something smaller, less invasive. A single transmitter buried near the petroglyphs would emit a short-coded burst, and an array of receivers spread across the triangle would monitor for any return. It was meant to be routine, just a calibration. But at precisely 2341, the receivers picked up not one echo, but 3 distinct ones. Each response carried a delay inconsistent with atmospheric reflection too short to bounce from the ionosphere too long for terrestrial scattering. The echoes came from within the Earth itself. Eric filtered the signal stripping noise, then ran a Fourier analysis. Patterns emerged, clusters of prime number intervals, frequency shifts that resembled data encoding. It was not natural interference. The signal seemed designed. It's like something sending coordinates, he murmured. Coordinates to where remained unknown. The following morning, the team hiked toward the mesa, carrying ground-penetrating radar and magnetometers. The desert air shimmered with heat. Cicadas buzzed like static. When they reached the cliff face where the light anomalies had once appeared, Thomas pointed out a small fissure near the base, barely visible from a distance. That wasn't here last season, he said. Travis crouched, shining a laser scanner into the opening. The readout displayed an immediate irregularity. The beam length registered shorter than the actual visual depth. Light, it seemed, behaved differently inside. They set up equipment, but soon found their instruments, flickering compasses, spinning without cause. The magnetometer screamed as if struck by lightning. Eric pulled his headset away. There's a pulse every 11 seconds, he said. It's identical to the modulation in our transmission. Somewhere beneath the mesa, something was answering again. That night, they reviewed footage in silence. In one infrared frame, a faint outline appeared within the fissure, an oval shape, symmetrical, radiating in a tight band around 1.6 gigahertzes. It lasted for only 3 frames, then vanished. Travis froze the image and whispered, "That's the same geometry as the LiDAR ring over the triangle." It was as if 2 ends of a tunnel had briefly aligned. They called in Jim Royston from Omnitech to run simulations. The model suggested a recurring electromagnetic vortex linking the triangle's airspace with cavities beneath the mesa. When stimulated by certain frequencies, the vortex could momentarily stabilize, allowing matter or energy to transfer through. It was in essence a traversable wormhole, but on a micro scale. The physics were outrageous, yet the math matched the data. Brandon sat quietly for a long time before saying, "If this is true, we're not observing a phenomenon. We're standing inside one." Days later, the ranch's cameras captured something unprecedented. At 3:17 a.m., a white orb emerged silently from the triangle, hovered above Homestead. 2 then darted toward the mesa and disappeared into the same fissure. Within seconds, every sensor across the ranch went offline. Hard drives filled with static. When power returned, the signal recorders displayed a perfect flatline as if the entire electromagnetic spectrum had been muted. The silence lasted exactly 37 seconds. Then, the 1.6 gigahertz's signal returned stronger than before, modulating with a new sequence. Eric stared at the data realization dawning. The modulation wasn't random, it was binary. 2 pulses repeating in sequences of 7, then 9, then 11. Prime numbers again, but this time with amplitude, shifts like emphasis, like speech. "It's trying to communicate," he said softly. Travis frowned. "Or warn us, That afternoon, a thunderstorm rolled in from the west, though radar showed clear skies. The team scrambled to shelter as lightning struck near the mesa, followed by a deep rumble that wasn't thunder. The ground itself vibrated. From the control room, they watched in disbelief as the fissure on their live feed glowed white-blue. The 1.6 gigahertz channel spiked off-scale, frying half their sensors. The glow persisted for nearly a minute before collapsing inward like a breath drawn in reverse. When it was over, the desert was silent again except for the steady beep of one surviving receiver. On its display flickered a short sequence, incomplete but unmistakable, a waveform spelling out a series of numbers. Eric decoded it. Latitude and longitude. Coordinates. Not on Earth. They compared them against star charts. The coordinates corresponded to a point beyond the solar system near Epsilon Eridani, a star once speculated to host habitable worlds. That can't be, Brandon whispered. There's no way a natural anomaly sends interstellar coordinates. Travis, pale but composed, replied, unless it's not natural. The next morning, the fissure was gone. Only smooth rock remained. But the data was real stored, verified, duplicated. The ranch had spoken in numbers only machines could hear. And the team, now unwillingly initiated into its mystery, faced the one truth that science both seeks and fears: the universe is not silent. It is speaking. The question is, who's listening